Lesson 8-1, Extending Multi-Step Number Stories. The focus of this lesson is for you to solve a multi-step number story, to discuss and solve number stories with challenging contexts and phrasings, and in the end to be able to solve those challenging number stories in order to crack a code. But first, let's start off with our mental math and fluency. Multiplication of whole numbers with fractions. In the previous videos, I showed you how to do this, so I hope you are practicing them the way that I showed you so that this doesn't seem overwhelming or scary in any way. 4 times 1/2. Well, if I simply take 4 and multiply it by the numerator, I get my answer 4 halves. 4 halves equals 2 wholes because 4 divided by 2 is 2. So again, 24 times 1/8. Well, 24 times 1 is 24. My denominator stays the same, so 24/8. But again, 24 divided by 8 equals 3. So you could have the fraction for your answer, or if the problem would be asking you to write it as a whole number, I just showed you once again how to figure out what that whole number is. And again, 30 times 1/6 equals 36th, which also equals 5, because 30 divided by 6 equals 5. Look how important knowing your multiplication facts have become. Almost every lesson is asking you to either do a division problem or to use multiplication to figure out that problem. So don't forget to continue studying those over the summer. It's even more important in 5th grade. Please read the following math message to yourself as I read it out loud. It says, 4th grade students from 2 elementary schools, Dayton and Cleveland, are participating in a 2-mile race at a local park. Once the students arrive, they are split into 4 equal groups. Each group starts the race at a different time, so that there are not too many students running in the same part of the race course at the same time. Dayton School brings 3 4th grade classes with 32 students in each. Cleveland School brings 4 4th grade classes with 27 students each. How many students are in each group? So how is this problem similar to other number stories problems you have already solved? Yep, just like other story problems, it has a lot of steps. And you're probably going to use addition, multiplication, and division to figure out your answer. So how am I going to make sense of what this problem is asking me to do? Well, I'm going to figure out what information is important and what information I don't really need to have to figure this out. So I know I'm going to have to figure out how many students came to the race, because my question here is, how many students are in each group? Well, in order to find that answer out, I have to figure out how many students came to the race so that I could know the total number of students being put into groups. Then I'm going to have to figure out how many students would actually go in each group. So what makes this problem a little difficult? Well, as I look and read through it, I notice that I have numbers that aren't really important in order to solve this problem, like the fact that the 4th grade students are from 2 elementaries participating in a 2-mile race at a local park. That number is not really important. The fact that they're from 2 different schools, well, at this point that's not really important. The fact that they're splitting into 4 groups, that's important, because my question is asking me how many students will be in each group. It says each group starts the race at a different time, so there are not too many students running in the same part of the race course at the same time. Well, that explains to me why I need 4 equal groups, but I really don't need that information now once I'm starting to figure out how many students there are total. So it said if Dayton School brings 3 4th grade classes, 3 classes, with 32 students each, okay, that's important because that's telling me how many students in all there's going to be. So I know by multiplying 3 times 32, my answer is 96. And that Cleveland School is going to bring 4 fourth grade classes with 27 each. And when I multiply 27 times 4, I'm going to get 108. Now when I add those two together, I realize that I am going to have 204, and I'm going to put S for students. But now it says how many students are in each group if I need 4 equal groups. Well, I'm going to have to take 204, and I'm going to divide it by 4. So 4 cannot go into 2, so I put a 0. Remember your divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Drexler Middle School Bobcats. So since I couldn't divide the first time, now I look at 2 numbers and I divide. 20 divided by 4. Oh yeah, I know that goes 5 times. What do I do next? I multiply. 5 times 4 is 20. Now I subtract S, and my answer is 0. Now I do my B. I bring down. My 4 comes down alongside my zeros. So now I start all over again by dividing. 4 divided by 4 is 1. I multiply back. 1 times 4 is 4. I subtract. 4 minus 4 is 0. I don't have anything to bring down. So how many students are in each group? I just figured out that my quotient is 51 students. So the number stories that you're going to do today are more challenging than the ones that you solved before, but they can be solved using your math skills that you already know. You just need to keep trying. So what I want you to do next is open your math journal to page 270. When you get it open to page 270, I want you to read them silently to yourselves as I read them out loud. And it says, every year, Blythe Elementary School holds a contest. Each class is given 7 problems about the school. The answers are part of a code that tells where a hidden prize is located. The class that cracks the code and gets to the location first wins the prize. Help Mrs. Fitzgerald's class win the prize by solving the problems and cracking the code. So problem number 1 asks you, the school custodian, Mr. Granger, brought every pencil he found on the floor this week to the school lost and found. At the end of the week, there were 126 pencils in the lost and found. Mr. Granger said he found 3 pencils in one classroom and 5 pencils in each of the 3 classrooms. He then found an equal number of pencils in each of the 9 remaining classrooms. How many pencils did he find in each of those 9 remaining classrooms? Wow, there's a lot of information here that you're going to have to go through to try to figure out what it is you need to do to get this answer. So what I know I need is I am going to need this 126 pencils in the lost and found. And at the end of the week, he said he found 3 pencils in one classroom. So I'm going to take away 3. And then he found, and this is where I'm getting this information, and then he found 5 pencils in each of the 3 classrooms. Again, I'm subtracting 5 pencils in the 3 classrooms. And then what did he find in each of the remaining 9 classrooms? Well, then I'm going to divide it by 9. So I'm going to do what's in parentheses first. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, so what's 126 minus 3? Well, that's 123. Now I'm going to subtract the 15, and I'm going to come up with 108. And now I finish this problem by dividing by 9. So 108 divided by 9 is 12. I just figured out that there were 9 pencils in each of the 9 remaining classrooms. Remember, to figure out these number stories, you really have to look at what the question is asking you to figure out, and then going back into the written problem and looking at the numbers you will need to finish the problem. All right, problem number 2 says, Mr. Granger walked by the cafeteria after lunch. He saw that the chairs around the 9 tables had been moved. He saw 12 chairs at each of the 5 tables, 5 chairs at each of the 3 tables, and 6 chairs at 1 table. He moved the chairs so that each table had the same number. How many chairs did he put at each table? Well, I got to look at my information again. He had 12 chairs at 5 tables, so I'd set this up looking like this. 12 times 5, and I'm putting parentheses around that because I got to figure that answer up before I move on when I get to that part of the problem. And then it says he had 5 chairs at each of the 3 tables. So again, I'm going to take 5 times 3. Then it says, and 6 chairs at 1 table. Well, I can just simply add 6 because 6 times 1 is 6. And then again, he wants the same number at each of the 9 tables. Multi-step problems. 12 times 5 is 60. 5 times 3 is 15. So 60 plus 15 is 75, plus 6 is 81. So 81 divided by 9 is 9. So how many are going to be at each table? 9 will be at each table. Let's take a look at number 3. Every year, students enter artwork in a state competition. This year, there were 137 winners. Pretty important, I bet. Of these, 25 came from private and home schools. The rest were from 8 different school districts. Each district had the same number of winners. The winners from our school district came from 7 schools, including ours. All of the schools in our district had the same number of winners. How many students from our school were winners? Well, we got to look at the 137, but then we remember we have to take away the 25 that came from private schools. And since I need to find that answer, I'm going to put that in parentheses. Then it says the rest came from 8 different school districts, and then from those school districts came from 7 different schools. So there's the numbers I used. So I take 137 minus 25 is 112. 112 divided by 8, 8 goes in there once, 14. And 14 divided by 7 is 2. Now, I don't expect you to do this as quickly as I did, but I do expect you to take the time to try to figure these out. The last problem I'm going to help you with on this page, and then you are going to do Math Journal page 271 as an assessment check-in, is number 4. And it asks, there are 346 students in the school. In the morning, many students go to special classes, 21 to music, 16 to technology, 24 to gym, 19 to art, and 10 to Spanish. The rest stay in the regular classes. 8 regular classes each have 27 students. The rest of the regular classes have only 8 students. How many total teachers are in the school? For problem 4, I need to add 5 plus, for problem number 4. So I'm going to be doing 5 plus 8 for the 5 days and the 8 regular classes. Then I'm going to add what I get when I take 346 minus 21 minus 16 minus 24 minus 19 minus 10 minus 19 minus 10 minus 8 times 27 divided by 8. You are also going to have to do Math Journal page 272 for this lesson.